And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 411 of Fans of Power. I'm Joe Amato, and I'm here with Nathan Kennedy, Rebecca McDonald, Dusan Mitrovic, and James Etok.
Oh,
And
I'm still not
tonight
used to
we'll-
that image of Dushin, by the way.
it's disturbing. If it at least blinked or something, it could maybe. Can you maybe get that to blink sometime? It
You
maybe
get it to
be
blink?
less.
Why would it blink? What's the point of blinking?
Just to make it less
That's true.
creepy. Yeah. I don't
Look
know.
at
My eyes
yourself. You
blink.
don't even have a working mouth.
Well, it works for the mask. You, it's a little weirder.
You
So
have
I'll get
two
to-
black circles for eyes.
It works though. It works perfectly.
It's
You don't have to
evil.
poke them a little
Dushin's
extra.
like,
and I
my
have to-
technology is better than yours, Joe.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, you
Yours
don't
is
even
better
look
than
like a real human being with that glowing skin of yours.
Paper mask is great. I tell you, I'm not this white. I will get to the chat and we'll say something here in a bit. But if I was using this phone, which I can't use good earbuds because I tried it before and it went to crap when Nathan was listening. He's like, no, Joe, I'm hearing too much stuff. You'll see that I'm not this white. I really am not. I'm white, but I'm not this white.
I've met Joe in person. He's like Doc Savage, man of bronze. He's like a Greek god. He's built like one too.
Is that it? It's like complete opposite. I go from that to this. It's like, wow,
That was the
these are
Arnold
really-
statue outside that you were.
I was
Yeah,
I was talking to it for hours.
I mean, in real life, Joe is about as tan as Tyler, so it's a running competition.
Yeah.
I'm pretty pasty,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Exactly.
Don't let the
See?
fight for you.
I have
You're
very
just saying
good
it to make
daylight
him
bulbs.
feel better.
Yeah, it's true though. These daylight bulbs, I got them at Ollie's. There was like a 6-pack or something for $4.99. That's why it looks so
very
white.
bright.
Plus, yeah, but if again,
Oh,
if
you
I
get
was
the
using
cool
this phone,
toned lights. Those are awful.
yeah,
Oh,
no,
I fucking hate
shut
those.
up, Rebecca. All right, no, but
Like if you just want to feel like ugly and dead all the time, just get those. And
yeah.
like,
Get
real
me lights
spots
that
is
start
weird.
off by going beep, beep, beep. Oh,
just one time, I
lovely.
swear I'd like to choke her one time. All right, but no, tonight we are here to celebrate the life of a man who, well, obviously is the voice of a hero to so many of us, for He-Man, and did a lot of other voice acting and stuff we'll get into. But John Erwin, he passed away on December 20th of 2024, and a lot of people were wondering about the date. Some people thought it was January, and they wondered why it was so late. But we know he was, well, obviously a private man with his life and his family, and probably the PR. They probably wanted to wait, I'm assuming, to
Yeah,
get that
that's
information out
exactly
to the
why.
public.
Like, I had a few people message me going, "Yeah, but he died in December," and not to rag on people.
But
I
no-
don't want to be that kind of thing. But I said to people, "Yes, but we only found out on that day, like
Exactly.
the night before."
Are you supposed to ignore it, like because
Yeah,
it happened? in
yeah,
December?
exactly. I remember that happened with Gerald Fortin once. Gerald Fortin had passed away, but we only found out like about a month later. And I posted about it. Just someone was like, "Yeah, he died like a month ago." It's like, yeah, but we only just found out. Well, we're not supposed to
Right.
mourn because we're late. It's like you must be a right happy person at a funeral. But it was like I got a message the night before, not to get too much into it, but the night before I was in bed and it was like 3 a.m. and for some reason I looked at my phone and I had a message from Melindy Britt and it just said like, "I have some news, just waiting to confirm it." And I was like, "Oh right, okay." Went back to sleep. By the time I woke up, the news was like there, and I was like, "Oh man!" And that was obviously I think his agency put that out. But I was like, "Oh my goodness!" It was just it hit so hard. I was like, I said to my friend Lee, I emailed Lee, and I heard actually Nathan and Tyler say the same thing. It's one of those things that's inevitable, and you know it's going to happen at some point, like death. I mean, not to welcome to the happy episode, but like it's inevitable. But it was like, oh, but you just never want it to happen. Especially when it's someone whose
Right.
work you admire and stuff. You think, oh, these people, they're immortal. They live forever. It's like, well, they are human, unfortunately. God damn you, John Erwin. We thought you were going to live forever, but like I've said so many times, it's like with these people like Lou Scheimer, John Erwin, for example, all the other people we've lost over the years in all facets. David Lynch recently as well. That was a hard one. Their work, especially like with someone like John Erwin, his voice is so synonymous with He-Man. It's like, oh, that'll be there forever.
Yeah, and we have so many things that we will talk about, and little video packages, memories, what he meant to us, and everything. Before that, I will acknowledge the chat. We have Johnny Cock, JSP, Zentron, Papa Hud 69.
You're not gonna let me do you didn't let me do it, Joe.
I'm sorry.
That's
Go
fine.
ahead, Nathan. Start it off.
It feels
like,
weird
"Oh,
saying it normal.
You already-
Or it feels
you
weird
did
hearing
it?
it
Oh,
normal.
yeah.
You already
He's
did
like,
it.
Just went straight for that
You
cock.
just went
That's how he rolls.
right over Nathan. You just
I didn't mean
breezed over
to.
top of him.
Apologize, Nathan.
That's okay.
Okay, Fedmon, I almost said Grim. Crumbs Mountain. Gavin's here. I just said JSP. I'm just as terrible as always.
Hey,
Adam
JSP
Are you
Gabbard.
here.
sure JSP's here though?
I think he is. McDJ, Sean Darren. I'm still scrolling. Rebel Wookie. Did I say Zentron? Purple Gangbang's here. How's it going?
No.
Gang
Why
gang!
do they all
Purple,
say that?
purple gang, Joe.
Not gang!
My goodness.
He's reading he's got
I mean,
tabs open. He's reading the tabs, not the chat.
He's done similar things before.
You know what Joe's thinking about tonight. But yeah,
Cock, not the gangbang.
yeah, purple gang
Gang
gang.
gang. How
Let's hear.
often do you get that? Like, I'm just curious.
Oh, that's
Oh,
all.
Joe.
Okay, and I was trying to say,
Oh God,
stay
my
so.
voice hurts.
I was trying to be subdued and calm for the episode to not have my energy level at 1,000,000 like always.
Look what you've done,
Yeah,
Joe.
go ahead, Nathan. Say it for him.
It's all right. It's too late now. You've
Oh.
already said it, so we can't do it.
Sorry. Oh my God, you're right. I did, and I was trying to be subdued, and there went that. How do we get back into a normal state now? We have to get this back on track. I apologize for that moment. I don't know. Jesus, talking about ruining a mood there. But no, so yeah, that news came and started seeing it all over social media and the reactions from everybody. It's like, yeah, he's somebody that, again, we know had a very private life. He went and do like conventions and things, and there was other things asked to do. We know that we don't know what people go through in their life. This is what I always say. You don't know whether it's health issues, just wanting privacy. We don't know. And even without seeing somebody for, in person, going to cons or nothing, it hits just as hard no matter what when you hear something like that, because he's an icon and he's like a hero in so many different ways for people. That voice, I just remember as a kid, when my parents were going through a divorce, and I would watch that cartoon when one was at the work, one at work or the other, and wherever I was, depending on the house. Sometimes I'd probably be alone and I'm watching that cartoon. His voice was so comforting. It was a voice of, you felt safe, and he really was like a hero to you, where the good guys always win, and you felt comfortable knowing that he was always going to save the day. And you'd get this moral at the end of the episode, and he's showing strength and courage and doing the right thing. And almost to me was like another parent in a way. It's just, there's lessons you learned, but it gets you right here. And just hearing his passing, that did hit me. There's not many times when I would hear about celebrities passing away. It's not saying people don't have a heart, but I couldn't really think of a time when I heard a celebrity that passed away that it brought tears to my eyes. And that doesn't usually happen, but it did, because I felt like, piece of my childhood, just in my family. I know he wasn't by blood, but you feel a connection. That got me. And I mean, I know we all have many stories, and people in the chat will probably as well, but that hit hard, but he's always going to live forever in everybody's heart. So
Joe, to piggyback off of that, and James, you could probably jump in on this too. When you're talking about not many deaths affecting you, Joe, I'm the similar way, but wrestlers have a tendency to do that for me, just because as a kid, you're looking at them like they're live action superheroes and everything. So when a lot of them started to pass away, like 20 years ago, and even today, it hits in a different way. And like James touched on, and Tyler and I talked about on Friday, like I'm always looking at, especially this time period now, thinking about how old I am. Yeah, we're in that weird, unprecedented time. It's like, all right, Clint Eastwood's in his 90s, and it's awesome he's been around this long. But soon enough, probably, right? Eventually, within the next 10 years. It's like Dick Van Dyke, Morgan Freeman.
That's that DVD. Oh my, that's going to be a real tough one.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman, like all of these iconic actors, voice actors, etc., are at that age now that we're gonna start losing everybody, and that's...
We lost. What was it? Was it the previous? Well, back in December, voice of Baroness, wasn't it? Morgan Lofting.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my goodness. And then I was preparing content for my YouTube channel, and I realized I was listening to her do a recording session. I was like, oh my god, this is her performing with like outtakes. And it was weird. It was almost like, yeah, it was very strange, that feeling of like, this is Morgan Lofting, recording lines, getting the odd one wrong here and there, being directed. It was someone almost like very vulnerable in that point, and it was like, oh, this is really bizarre. And now she's gone, and you look at I shouldn't say that, but I was gonna say that He-Man voice cast now, not She-Ra, I'm just talking about He-Man for the moment. It's literally Alan Oppenheimer and Erica Scheimer are the only two. We lost Linda Gary in '93, Lou Scheimer in, was it 2013? John Erwin now.
George DiCenzo,
yeah, obviously, it's on the She-Ra side of things. Obviously, you still got Melinda Britt, and Diane Pershing is still around. So it's just like, man, it really it's like death is one of those things that I think it's one of the few things in life that really weirds me out. In the sense of, I think it's that odd thing when you think about, it's not necessarily the process of death. It's not to get too grim.
That we're consciously aware of it, whereas like other living things, not so much.
It's that, and I remember, like, it sounds terrible, like thinking about this when I was somewhat young. I remember watching a thing on TV, and it was just the idea that the universe will continue long after we're gone, but it was already here before. So it's just like nothing really changes. But it's that idea of, oh right. But I always like to think of it as like, well, it's just like a nice long sleep, because when I go to sleep, what happens? I just do dreams, and it's like, I just want a nice long sleep. So it's and like you were saying, Nathan, the a lot of these people whose work we admire, like voice actors, creative people, like in the comic book industry, animation industry. We lost Swanigan last year. And it's just like, oh man, it's just really really tough to hear those
especially
things.
when it happens so sudden.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing, Joe was saying about John Erwin, being a quiet man and stuff, and I totally, I'm sure we all have moments like that in life, and if that was the choice he made. But you think as well, it's like, even 10 years ago, when we were like Val and Danielle and everyone was trying to get him out to PowerCon, imagine being like 78 years old. Imagine being 70 years old and going like, right, I'm going to travel across. Well, I mean, he lives in Los Angeles, but lived in Los Angeles at the time. So I'm going to travel. I'm going to go up to this convention, and the energy levels. Again, Nathan, you and Tyler touched upon this. When you're at your table at PowerCon, was that the other year? You guys are interacting with all these people. I've done it as well, and it's that thing of, it's so exhausting.
Yep.
Now, think about being John Erwin in your late 70s, early 80s, sitting at a table, meeting and greeting everybody, as I'm sure he would have loved to have done. But the emotional, because you would have got people come up to him just crying and going, understandably, I probably would have been one of them. Oh my God, I can't believe it. But it's that thing of all these, it must be so like emotionally and physically taxing on an old man, old lady, sat there going, yep, that's lovely, I'll sign your thing, and oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I always feel bad when somebody's really old and going up to them, because you're always thinking in the back of your mind, like, are they here because they want to be here? I had that experience with Michelle Nichols when I met her, and she was beautiful and lovely, and later come to find out she wasn't willingly there.
Oh, there was that whole, I remember hearing about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after she had
a stroke. That told me.
Yeah, after she had a stroke, like.
And I was like, I
horrible things.
I can look back on it with fond memories, but not 100% because I feel bad now because I was feeding into this parasite, not her. So yeah, I'm sure she was getting some enjoyment out of it because she had a huge smile on her face when she saw me dressed up like her and everything. So
I'm sure.
James, you had mentioned in your post that where is it? That he politely declined because he only wanted to ever be recognized by the muscle-bound character on screen and not by the voice actor. So that was like the kind of the biggest thing, I guess.
That was always his thing. Even I think, as from what I understood, hearing from Lou Scheimer, was always like his thing. He was one of those actors because Dushan and I've had this conversation numerous times. So many people think of voice actors as voice actors, and it's like, no, do you understand? Like a majority of them are trained. Frank Welker is a trained actor. He just happens to be really good at doing voices. Peter Cullen, Peter Cullen's the exception, isn't he, Dushan? I think.
No, Peter Cullen also did live action roles. He was on that variety show.
Oh yes, of course. Sonny and was it the Sonny and Cher thing?
No, it was. I think it was that Canadian version or something.
That makes sense. Yeah,
there are clips on YouTube.
But he these people are trained actors and stuff. So I think with John Erwin, it wasn't a case of. I mean, there's famous stories of actors going like, I don't want to be known for was it the Lone Ranger? William, was it? Dushan, help me out with this. The guy who voiced the Lone Ranger in the Filmation cartoon used a pseudonym because he didn't want to be known.
That's because of. I think it was his agent that was like, this will damage your career or something.
Yeah,
because that's when you see William Conrad's career, like he wasn't against doing goofy stuff. Like he even did a record of that Christmas song that he did as a parody, and he was swearing in it and doing all kinds of things.
Dushan will shortly send us a link at some point.
So sometimes it's the agents that screw things up.
And you look back at, like, again, Filmation prior to He-Man, you look at someone like George DiCenzo, who was the voice of Black Star, an actor. Robert Ridgely, my goodness, from Flash Gordon, was the last film he was in. I think pretty much the last film was Boogie Nights, and it was one of my favorite movies. And he's in there. It's like, it's Flash Gordon. And it's he has one of the great lines in that film. But like John Erwin, was voicing voicing characters as early as the 60s for Filmation.
In the Archie 60s. Cartoon.
Archie cartoon, where he was Reggie, which was his Prince Adam voice, pretty much, if not an octave much higher.
It's just more mean-spirited.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the mean Prince Adam. And it's a case of, I think he was well aware, like Lou had said, that he was well aware that people would love to have met him, but his whole attitude was, no, when people think of He-Man, I want them to think of He-Man, because in fairness, when we think of Optimus Prime or even Megatron, we think of Frank Welker and Peter Cullen, kind of not, thinking about them like, oh yeah, that's who voices them. The only reason, like, it's so funny to go back, because none of us, up until I think it was about 97, on the He-Man or He-Man mailing list, I think it was called back then, and we didn't have an idea what John Erwin looked like. And I remember catching wind. I can't remember if someone said or if I stumbled upon it, but back in 97, I would send out like weekly emails to the mailing list and say like, oh look, I've got a gift for you. It'll be like an image of the hero prototype or random things that people had never seen up until that point. And one of them was an audio clip where I was watching Babe, the film, the pig, and he is the voice during the Babe's kind of, what do you call it, like performance at the end, where Babe is rounding up the sheep, the pig is rounding up the sheep, and it's John Erwin. I remember like clipping this thing, and then I looked at the image and I was like, well, that must be John Erwin, and I know what he looks like. But you look back and I think it was just his voice they used, because he's got, go and look at Seinfeld, you hear John Erwin's voice as the TV announcer on so many things. Back in December, oddly, I was watching Seinfeld episodes, and they were talking, like, not every time, but there was something. I was like, oh, it's John Erwin. I forgot he's not credited, but it's him. You can't mistake that voice because he
Did they credit him for Back to the Future too when he did the radio voice about UCLA wins 19?
Yeah, he's credited.
He's credited on there. Yeah,
but yeah,
he also did those TV commercials in 1970s.
Yeah, of course. Well, he did the Hallmark one. He did. There's the one for the car, which is great. The Hallmark one with Gary Coleman is adorable. He's just like, John Erwin, just like, it's just like, oh, that's so sweet, He-Man. But the first time I properly saw him, Lee Clevenger had sent me a video of just like a bunch of, it's late 90s. Here's a bunch of random Filmation related stuff. One was, I was like, why did you send this to me, Lee? Robin and the Dreamweavers, which was obviously Lou Scheimer Productions' only production, which was this questionable cartoon. Anyway, that was that. But one of the other things on there was an internet advert, like an infomercial, and it was John Erwin talking about the internet. I was like, oh my goodness, that's John Erwin. And it was clearly him telling elderly people how to get on the internet. I was like, I need to find that again. I've only got an image of it, but it's him like going, and his John Erwin voice. I'm like, this is so random. But yeah, and then the story of when he went to the Filmation reunion, and Lee sent me an addendum to that story that I'll probably tell later. But it was so funny. He said he just, walked up to John Erwin, who was standing on the balcony by himself. Like, you got this Filmation reunion, and he chatted to Lou Scheimer and gone out. He was just having a drink out on the balcony, and Lee just went out there. Was like, John Erwin, and he was like, hi, kind of thing. Lee said he couldn't have been more friendly, and they started talking. And he was like, oh, I loved, Lee, because Lee never fanboys. Lee fanboys, but Lee's got such a poker face, and he knows how to talk to people. And he was talking to John Erwin, and they had like a pretty lengthy chat. And he was talking about the voices, and John just gets into this Prince Adam impression. And he said as soon as he did that, even though they were kind of on the balcony, you saw people's like heads turn, like, it's Prince Adam. But they didn't, because you've got a bunch of Filmation people there. If you're an animator and stuff, you don't know what everyone looks like in the building and voice actors coming and going. So just like, that guy just did Prince Adam. It's like, that is Prince Adam. So it was, I was like, God, I wish I could have got to meet him, but, just one of those things. Someone randomly commented on one of my posts on Instagram and said, I do my eulogy, and they just respond, shame he hated his fans. And I'm like, did you actually read my... So I replied, I said, I take it from that you didn't even read my post, because I clearly state why he didn't meet people. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. But, some people have got to rile you up.
People need to realize that stars, even though you're a fan of somebody, they don't owe you their time.
Mm-hmm. Of course not.
It's like having a crush on somebody, or just being a fan of somebody. You're not entitled to anything from them, and that goes for celebrities. A lot of people overstep boundaries when it comes.
Oh my God, I saw that enough times at conventions.
Yeah,
there's one I'd love. I'm going to tell you off air that was just at PowerCon, and I was just like, me and Lee, we laughed for hours. We still laugh about it to this day. I was like, it actually happened. And someone took a photo of it, and it was like, it's out.
Well, what did you do?
This was PowerCon. This was like 2012, 2013. It was quite an incredible moment. One of the first ones then. Wow. Yeah, it was very early on.
I was gonna say Joe can relate to the aspect of how John Erwin didn't. He's like, oh, you just don't. I don't want you to see me. You need to just see this character, Joe.
No. I really was gonna. No. Nowhere on the level of him. So obviously, I'm not comparing. But when you were saying that maybe he didn't want to show himself because people seen him as He-Man, and he wondered if when they seen him in person, when they'd be like, "Oh, that was He-Man's voice," which no one would have done that. But you can't speak for how people think about themselves. Like me, I've always had it to where I have usually a larger than life personality and voice and the way I act. So when some people see me at PowerCon, they're like, "Oh, it's not what I expected," but others didn't care. I was like, "It's still
I like
Joe."
That. You described yourself as it. It's not what I expected. He's not what I expected.
Well, yeah. But no, so people were still really excited. But I did hear a couple of the comments from some people, but that's fine. But I didn't unmask, and a lot of people, I love the respect because they didn't want to see, because they like the mystique of this. But the ones that did see me unmasked, they weren't like disappointed or nothing.
I like it when you walked up
just vomiting.
I remember Joe just walking up to me after, like it was the after part, the after party.
Yeah, the after party, right? Yeah.
And Joe just strolls up and like taps me, and I turn around, I'm like, "You're right, mate." And I was like, "Oh, because Joe." It was such a great moment. I was like, "Oh," but there's also the thing of like, I kind of like the mystique that I've known Joe for like well over a decade. It's just like I kind of like the fact that I didn't know.
What was that like for you for a second though? Because I mean, when you realized it was me, it was like, what the fuck? Or just hey,
I'll be honest. I was aroused.
You were there. You go.
I looked and I was like, "Who's this piece of?" Oh, Joe, how's it going, mate? I had to do the poker.
Again, he was talking to the bronze statue that he thought was you.
There was that again.
I remember. I remember when I saw Joe's face like in full for the first time because
in full.
Yeah, well, but so
yeah, he
pretty
just
much
woke up and he saw him staring back.
Yeah, so pretty much we went. It was almost like I was dating Joe Amato because for a long time it's just after the shows, after Beyond Retros, or when I started doing Fans Power with him and Tyler. He would still just wear the mask after the show. I'm like, all right. And he would complain, "Oh, I'm so hot in this." I'm like, "Joe, it's fine. We can see it. Just no, I can't do that." And then eventually he would just wear a ball cap and sunglasses. After he would take the mask off, I'm like, all right, fine. I'm like, is he missing an eyeball or something? What's going on here?
They all got the reveal, but yeah, it was after with Rebecca because Rebecca and John
for us
came to
it
visit.
was if you remember the scene from the silent film Phantom of the Opera, it was kind of like that
wow.
when I first met Joe. So I was just like, and very dramatically fell back as he went.
Yeah, and John started crying.
They see me in person, and since they see me in person, I was like, "No, it's only right."
What kind of still surprises me, Joe. We'll get back to John Erwin, people, but what still surprises me is that night.
That's what happened.
There you go. Yeah. That night, there were cameras around, and yet no one took. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the camera. I think my phone was definitely taking photos, and every time I was kind of like, you kind of. It was just like, yeah, you got to do that, man. Well, you got to respect it. You should have brought your mask with you as well.
And I couldn't believe.
But James, did you ever try to photograph a Bigfoot?
Oh, I see. Or if I photograph him and there's just nobody there.
Or Dracula.
No, it just looks like a blur.
I disappear like Dracula because I'm so pale. But no, that was very respectful. Nobody tried to take a picture of me. Nobody tried to take my mask off, like at the convention. But when I was unmasked at that after party, nobody was taking pictures. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
people do actually have a lot of respect.
Like we're saying, people like their privacy, and it's the case with John Erwin. It would be interesting.
I should read you a text from Daniel Benedict, from Johnny Bilson about Daniel. Let me say. Just got off the phone with Daniel. He said that when he was talking to Joe, he kept wondering if he dialed me on by mistake. Then he realized that he'd never seen both of us in the same room at the same time in the same room. Wonder if one of us was an alter personality of the other.
Oh my goodness.
That was pretty good. Yeah, because when I talked to Daniel, he said, "Anybody ever tell you that you sound like Johnny?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I know he impersonated me."
You both are really similar in like stature and everything. So
yeah,
I think
and
if
he's
you guys
got the
were
good
in person,
mannerisms.
it would have been epic if you were two Joe Amatos just confusing people.
We're gonna make that happen. We're gonna have an epic face-off together. We'll have that happen. But
I mean, there is a photo that I have of Joe unmasked. It's myself, Joe, and Tyler in a picture.
I got that picture. That's a great picture.
And Joe's not wearing the mask, and we'll go ahead and we'll just show that picture right now.
He's wearing underwear.
I couldn't tell. He was wearing pants, but I don't know if he was going commando under there.
It's not like the AI version you made, Dushin.
Yeah.
Right.
With the female
What
legs.
AI?
With his nice, beautiful legs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that picture.
Did you have some videos and things that we were going to show? Some things about John, and we'll still talk more, obviously, about things through his career.
Let me go ahead and turn my translation up here. I'll probably turn the volume down a little bit so we can kind of like talk.
Yeah, you've definitely gone quiet.
Yeah, if you guys want. But James, go ahead and explain kind of.
Oh yeah, an hour before we were set to record, I've been telling people, it's like, oh yeah, I definitely want to make a John Erwin kind of tribute video on my channel, probably in a couple of weeks. So I was thinking of ideas, and I started writing the script, and then I was replying to a comment on YouTube, and I suddenly thought, oh, I could do that. So this is like almost like a work in progress version of a very specific idea I had for a part of the video. I was like, I've always wanted to kind of do this. So what it is, I did this in an hour, believe it or not. I was like, right, it's like I know all the production codes off my head. I was like, right, I want to try and get a clip of not every, but enough John Erwin characters, voiced characters from He-Man, just He-Man, so I can get that kind of spectrum of the voice. So you can hear it going from like the guttural to the light to the posh to the kind of squeaky, like your web stores and your squinches, to one that may surprise people. So yeah, I thought it would create this kind of, like this spectrum of vocal work. I just put this together. I kind of I did the old music and effects thing, lowered the music and effects. So the voice should be pretty, what do you say? Forthright. There we go.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead and play it now. Is the volume all right on that?
No, I can't hear it.
I can't hear
You
that.
can't hear it. No,
Nope.
great.
No. Oh, I thought this was on mute. I was like, oh, I guess.
No.
Oh, yeah. I just thought my connection went to crap like always, and it was a glitch. I was like, I didn't hear it. I was like, I'll hear it after the show.
Better be quiet. Yeah, Zentron just said no sound.
Damn. Maybe I'll just have to play it this way and hope for the best. So here we go. We'll just play this for everybody, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But you don't impress me. Someday I'll show you what power really is. My plants and I have slept for years. Now we waken to claim eternity. The sorceress is mine to command. Soon you'll be in the hands of Skeletor, and I will be a rich man. Take these as a gift. You know, one wizard to another. I am Erwin. I have come for the secret thing. Even your jokes begin to suffer the effects of the cold. Soon we will all be forced into the sleep of hibernation. Mortal, I am evil itself. I see you decided to bow after all. They have forgotten the pain, the darkness, the madness that is war. Oh, thanks. I needed that. With our singer gone, nothing can stop Yorg should he awaken.
Son, when King Randor appointed me royal historian, it was a great honor. Later I pulled myself out of the rubble. My legs were paralyzed. I would never walk again. But I was one of the lucky ones. Many didn't come out at all.
I never got a chance to thank you for saving me earlier today.
I am of a race much older than yours. A race that has long since shed the fragile shell of a physical body.
Thank you, Orko. Your magic is excellent. But I wonder if mine still works. I haven't had company in 100 years. Or is it 200? Well, I don't know. It's been a long time. So what can I do for you?
Well, like I told Orko, I'm just a hermit.
Yeah, I'm a pretty famous guy.
Yeah, it's time for him to be our messenger boy. That jeweler's gold should rightly belong to a nobleman. And who's the most noble man I know? Why, me, of course.
Oh, I'm so sleepy.
Time for me to go.
Keep your promise to make me big and I'll take on all of you, single-handed.
Then you and Gleedle can both stay in my dungeon forever.
That's right. Glad to meet you. Wow, what's your name?
Well, I'm glad you did, old buddy. Without Battle Cat, He-Man would be a lonely fella.
Make-believe can be fun, and there's nothing wrong with imagining great adventures. But never forget that when it's the real thing, someone can get hurt. Even the good guys. Even you.
There we go.
Wow, James, thank you for sharing that. That's incredible. I didn't realize the amount of voice work that he did for the cartoon. Yeah, out of all crackers,
same way. Yeah.
I didn't know he did Shigora either. I love Shigora, and I seen that he did Aramesh. Oh, there! Look at that, pop up 69 as I said it. But what I loved about what you just did there, it just shows the range and the talent that people have when they do voice act.
I mean, you didn't realize it was him most of the time, so that's credit to him, just how good he was.
Absolutely, Rebecca. And see, that's the thing. It's not discrediting like nowadays, but I've seen some, modern cartoons, let's say, where people are doing characters and they're not doing a voice, they're speaking in their voice as the cartoon character. I was like, well, where's the range there? While they would mock stuff from the past, I was like, do you know the talent that it takes to do what he did? And what you put together, I'm sure there's even more beyond other cartoons that he's done. But I didn't realize a lot of those characters.
I just wrote down a list. Like I said, I did that an hour before I sat there, and I was like, right, let me think of a bunch of, and I wrote down a bunch of voices. Then I went through the episodes, and I grabbed the audio, and then I kind of arranged the audio so it kind of, like I say, it goes from this kind of low guttural voice with Beastman to kind of, it starts to get higher, then it goes into like his kind of accented British voice, or slightly, erudite kind of voices. Then it goes into the kind of Ram Man, and then up to like Squinch and Webstore, or Whiplash, Squinch and Webstore, and then Crackers the Clown, which is one that I didn't realize for years until I was watching an episode. And I was like, oh, because you'd automatically think whenever you'd hear the silly voices, oh, it's Lou Scheimer's doing a silly voice, because he was often doing those voices. And then you realize it was like, oh, in those moments where Crackers goes into a slightly lower tone when he's like, glad to meet you, and it's like, oh my god, that sounds like that's John Erwin's voice. He's doing basically a Mickey Mouse impression, and it just shows you, like, and like I say, that was just a bunch. There was so many more voices, like there's characters in She-Ra, because whenever John Erwin wasn't a permanent member of the She-Ra cast, he would come in to do the He-Man roles, but whenever he'd come in to do a He-Man role, he'd do any kind of guest characters in that episode. So yes, it's amazing. When I was putting that video together, I was like, I wish I'd done this like decades ago when I was doing the old episode review website, because it just seemed I want to do more, especially like Linda Gary, like her vocal range to go from, here's her doing a child, like the Star Child, here's her doing a young girl, here's her doing Teela, Evil Lynn, Chakotay, and then Shadow Weaver and Madame Raz. Her vocal range is phenomenal. Oppenheimer, Lou Scheimer, these people like Melinda Brett, they're all like, it's crazy. Like I say, they're actors, so they know what to put into a performance. And as we've heard with the Transformer voice recording sessions, these people, and I'm sure it was the same at Filmation, were directed like really heavily. But one of the things I remember reading, I wrote it on my notes here, was that Lou Scheimer said, where is it? He was like, so they got him in to do, like, he could do He-Man. They knew he could do He-Man, but they were like, oh, how's he going to do Prince Adam? Even though he'd done like Reggie, but Reggie was kind of like this squeaky, like Dushan said, like it was like like baddie kind of
mean-spirited.
Yeah, mean-spirited. There you go. And so they weren't sure he could do Prince Adam. Then he read for Prince Adam and just kind of brought the Reggie down and made it lighter, and it was just like such a warm voice, but in a different way to He-Man's. And they said, and Lou Scheimer said he put his heart and soul into being He-Man, and felt deeply about the responsibility of being He-Man. So that again, that leans into the whole, I don't want to be known as He-Man. I don't want people to go, oh, that's the old guy who voiced He-Man. When I put the image up, I was like, part of me, he wanted his privacy, but at the same time, it's like, no, man, this guy deserves to be. I want to, people deserve to see what the man who voiced He-Man looks like, and all these other characters. Sure. Yeah, there's privacy, and of course we respect that, but it's like dude, yeah, people want to go, oh, this is the guy. And I've seen that image that Lee took all those years ago, or someone took of Lee and John. I've seen that image done so much because it's the only
picture of him, really.
Yeah, when I was looking for one for the intro, I'm like, oh, there's whopping 2 pictures to choose from.
Yeah, there was the Rawhide one. Was it not Rawhide? Was it Rawhide? I forget what was the black and white show. It was the Cowboy show. I forget the name of the show now. But what was that?
It was the show with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, wasn't like the Rifleman or Gunsmoke or something like that.
Rawhide.
Oh, was it right?
You were right.
It was right.
Yeah, and besides that, you had that car commercial.
Yeah.
From the 1970s. So was, the Lee's photograph is literally the most recent photograph of him.
Yeah. It was funny when I was working on the BCI DVDs. We got like behind the scenes material. So this was all stuff scanned from Lou's archives and stuff like that, or what what BCI had been provided with. There's a bunch of these behind the scene photos of Archie, like the recording sessions, and you had like all these actors, and the only one of John Erwin, to the point where I was like, oh, I don't know where the photo, I don't have the photo anymore, but it was like a guy behind the mic, half in shadow. And I don't think it was purposely like, oh, I want to be in the shadows, but the photo was, it was almost like the photo was representing his reclusivity. It was like, oh,
I think I saw that.
It was like he's in a recording booth. You've got the padded wall kind of thing. That makes it sound like an insane asylum. The foam on the walls to reverberate the sound, and he's like, yeah, and he's like behind a mic, but the shadow just kind of consumes most of his face.
Did Erika Scheimer post that photo on Facebook?
Say again?
Didn't Erika Scheimer post that photo on Facebook when she ran that page for Lou Scheimer?
Yeah, it might be on there probably. I don't know. I didn't know if that ever got out to the public hands, as it were. But yeah, it was like, again, you know, people keep themselves to themselves and stuff. But I thought, like, should I put his picture out there? And it's like, if people have watched my videos, they've seen his photo. I put his photo on my blooming website all those years ago. So no, I think, yeah, I'll put his photo up there. So if people are gonna, you know, borrow the photos, like at least they're getting a photo of John Erwin and not someone going like, oh, I'm so sad that John Erwin has passed away. And it's like, yeah, I bet you are.
Tyler and I were talking about this on Friday, because so many of these voice actors over the years started going to conventions and everything. And Tyler made it a point that he was pretty bummed out that he felt John Erwin didn't get put in the same stratosphere as those guys. And we were kind of thinking that it's because they all started going out and doing all these and putting their faces out there to put the face to the voice. I kind of wanted to see how everyone here sort of felt about that in that regard.
Well, I mean,
agreed. I think go ahead, James. Sorry.
I was going to say, like, I remember the first time I saw Peter Cullen was, so the best Transformers convention I never attended was BotCon 97, because it was the first big Transformers convention where they had, it was amazing. Like, I only saw it via, it was such a big convention, they sold VHS tapes of it officially on the BotCon website all those years ago. And I bought this VHS tape. One was the Stan Bush Vince DiCola concert. So they did the whole album. You know, you get the touch. I better do that in case my accuracy causes a copyright strike.
Yeah, be careful.
Because I was close to Stan Bush there. I think you'll find. Or I start heavy breathing, and it's like, oh, Vince DiCola's on the phone. He wants his copyright. So that's a deep cut for anybody who knows his music. Sorry, I made myself laugh now. Oh dear. So this BotCon 97 convention, they had like I say, all these guests, and the other video was all the interviews they had of like the people that went, and the main voice actor from G1 was Peter Cullen. And you see Peter Cullen, it's like an abridged version of the panel, and the people in the room are just like, understandably, like just going crazy every time he just drops into Optimus Prime or Iron. He does like an Ironhide, and it's just like, oh my god, it's incredible. I remember just watching it, rewinding it, going, oh, it's Peter Cullen doing Optimus Prime and Ironhide. And you know, the BotCon convention really started getting the voice actors in, but they kept trying to get Frank Welker, and Welker did not do conventions at all. I met him.
It's not because he didn't want to, because he was busy. So what he did early on is that he would record a line as like a sound wave, and
he did that for
like,
BotCon. He did that. He did like a Megatron. He was like, I will destroy.
Yeah, that I think there's a recording also of that.
Oh, you can. It's on the BotCon YouTube channel. I stumbled upon it a couple of months ago. I was like, oh wow, all this stuff's there. But yeah, as soon as Welker got out there, he started doing those joint panels with Peter Cullen, and it was just like, we all know who Welker is, but not the general public do. So now you see, X talk about Peter Cullen all the time, and obviously because he voiced Optimus Prime in those Michael Bay movies, that really kind of, because people fought for that as well. And when he wasn't, I think like Frank Welker, I think started to become a name in social media in the sense of when he wasn't cast in Transformers, and they had, was it Hugo Weaving as Megatron?
Yeah, like we tried to get Frank Welker as well because I took part in all that fighting.
I bet you did, Dujan.
Unfortunately, no, literally, I was staying up a whole night for that. That's why I no longer sleep at night.
Of course you did.
Like
that's what started your bad sleeping habits.
Yeah, we won with Peter
Never
Kahn,
recovered
but
from that lore.
yeah, we won for Peter Kahn, but with Frank Welker, the suck-ups to Michael Bay just won because they kept on bullshitting how he's too old, how he can do it. It's like the man can do that voice even now as he's like almost 80.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And not to plug this too much, but there's videos of Tyler talking to both of them that are on
Yes, that's right. He did the cameos.
Yeah, the Frank Welker conversation was because he was talking about Muppet Babies with them. It was phenomenal. But going back, James, to your singing voice, JSP was saying more like Mark Wahlberg.
Oh yeah, you got it done. Yeah. Do you know what I only found out the other day? I couldn't believe this. I found that they did a version of what's the director's name? Paul Anderson. Paul Thomas Anderson, is that the director?
Yeah.
Of Boogie Nights. He did an earlier version in '88 with Robert Ridgely as the Burt Reynolds character. Names are all escaping me now.
Fuck.
The guy.
The guy. Yeah, no.
The guy.
You would think I would know that because I love Boogie Nights too.
It's on the
Jack Horner.
Jack Horner. So Robert Ridgely played the Jack Horner role. So we turned this back into Filmation, and I think I forget who the actor was who played the Mark Wahlberg role, but that's why they did the touch, because literally the movie was out a couple of years. So they were like, we just need that's why I thought it was really weird in '97 when they did Boogie Nights. Why are they doing the touch? It's because they knew that song from the '80s. They're like, we need a really kind of 1980s kind of cheesy ballad, and there was like Mark Wahlberg going, "You got Zurge." I love that. Me and my friends, I remember just sitting there because we didn't see it at the cinema watching it. I'm just like, oh my god! We were like, we're all there to see Heather Graham get naked. We realise it's an amazing movie, and then to top it all, we get "You Got the Touch." It was just like, oh,
and that shitty. It's like they wanted to take off and they wanted to do these other movies.
Oh, the karate movies.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
So good.
James, you and I need to do like a Boogie Nights discussion. Just two of us. Yeah.
Just me and you, just doing Boogie Nights.
Why not?
Yeah.
All right. Quickly jump back to what. Yeah, they probably would charge. No, but jump back to what you were asking Nathan about. Like, obviously, if John Erwin would have done conventions, I'm sure he would have been in the same stratosphere of all the voice actors at all these conventions and wanting to be there, because you can only imagine the amount of people that would not only want all the autographs, but to hear his voice and to say, could you say this quote? Could you say by the power, Grace? I have the power. Yeah. Could you say a moral? I mean, and if they would have had Alan Oppenheimer and him together, did I go off?
No. I was gonna say if John Erwin ever did, and Tyler went to the convention, it's like, hey, can you write this? And John Erwin's like, I can't write all of that. And it's like, oh no,
God damn it! You get pissed at him too. But no, picture Alan Oppenheimer and John Erwin together.
Imagine Alan Oppenheimer and John Erwin tag teaming against Tyler.
But to see them together and having little interactions and doing their voices together, there's no doubt he would have been there. And like, isn't there another person like Frank Langella? He doesn't do conventions, does he, or represent Skeletor?
I think I think Langella he may have done one like offshoot convention at some point. I think maybe, but he doesn't do them at all.
Okay.
I'm always kind of regretful that I never went up and chatted to Christina Pickles. I was 2 tables down from her. I was next to Robert. I think it was Robert Lamb. Someone. I think it was Rob Lamb, me, Rudy Abrero, and Christina Pickles. And I chatted to Rob and Rudy, and I just, for some reason, I didn't even chat to Chris. It was one of those where the convention ended, and I was just like, oh my god, I forgot to spoke to oh my god, Evil Lynn with the eyes, Meg Foster. She was enchanting and wonderful and lovely, but also just it was that was an interaction.
When she talks to you, she looks you in the eye too, and you're just hypnotized.
It's just like, oh well, you really were perfect for. I mean, that was probably the role, that and Langella. But yeah, going back to He-Man briefly with John Erwin. What I always find fascinating is if you go back, I always talk about the first 18 episodes that were produced of He-Man, which were the ones with, there's, unfortunately, digital tomfoolery has meant that the episodes have been chopped and changed from classic media to NBC Universal, etc., etc. And so the intros have been lost, and the wrong Filmation logos showing up, and etc. But there's 18 episodes that were the first produced, not the first 18 episodes, the first 18 episodes produced. So the numbers don't follow production order. And if you listen to those 18 episodes, it's clear that they were done as like an initial batch, because John Erwin's He-Man isn't as, what's the best way to put it?
It's
not
rougher.
As refined. Yeah, it's rougher. He's very shouty. If you think of an episode like Father Like Daughter, or She Demon of Phantos,
or
Colossal, great shout. Those episodes, he's very kind of like, let's go, and he's very kind of, and then you get to like, I'm trying to think, like Shaping Staff, he's still like that, but you get to a lot of those episodes that follow, and it's like the role is more refined and more heart and compassion into the role. I think, and that's understandable. Like we Dushan and I obviously listen to the Transformers recording sessions, and you listen to Chris Latta as Skeletor. His initial Starscream, his initial Starscream is like, he hasn't quite found the voice, and then
more subdued,
and he's just not quite getting it, and the director's going like, no, I want this from you, I want that. And then eventually, a few episodes down the line, you can tell that he nails it.
Especially in Revenge of Bruticus, because or was it Starscream? No, Revenge of Bruticus. Like either Revenge of Bruticus or Starscream Brigade. At one point, Chris Latta goes, "Knock it off," and he does such a loud take that the guys from Soundboat complain, like, "Wow!" Like, what the hell, man?
No, it's understandable that actors, when it's like, you look at Alan Oppenheimer, he goes into Skeletor, and initially he voices Skeletor. In my preferred version is that kind of lower register, kind of very. I mean, it depends on the script as well, and that's another problem or factor that plays in. Where Robert Lamb said that when they were writing, they were you had an idea of what Skeletor and He-Man would sound like, and then the episodes started coming in. It's like, right, now we need to write to these voices, and so Skeletor became, I guess, funnier. They inserted the more comedy moments into Skeletor's dialogue, and He-Man, I think they gave him more humanity and heart. A lot of those early episodes, he's a bit like a bit Superman-ish, not Superman-ish, but just a very generic hero. Script
more deadpan.
Yeah, it's just quite flat. And then you get into that latter half or midway through season 1, it's like, and John Erwin finds the voice, and the writers clearly know who they're writing for, and you get that beautiful meld of all these different factors, both with He-Man and Skeletor. So yes, it's fascinating. That's what I always look back and think, because remember, like Lee said, his natural talking voice was just Prince Adam, but just a bit lower, like a deeper Prince Adam. And I was like, that must be so. And then you hear him on adverts, like the Hallmark advert.
Pretty much like the way he did Adam in Diamond Ray of Disappearance.
Yes, actually, yeah.
Like, especially whenever you hear the stock recording of By the Power of Grayskull.
Yeah,
it's that the register.
Yeah. You got any?
And what I
Did you
think
say
is
you had
great
other
about the
video?
man. What's that?
I thought Nathan said, was there more videos or something? I was intrigued.
Oh no,
no!
Rebecca had sent that intro bit, and then you had sent that. Yeah, nothing. I actually just asked Dushin, is the car commercial and the Hallmark commercial, are they on YouTube?
It should be.
I
think the Hallmark one is. The Hallmark one
if you don't have it, I've got the Hallmark one. I recolored it. I tried to fix it a few years back because it was
if you guys want to send me that stuff, we can play that too. I would assume that's not really going to kick up anything.
That should be okay. There should be no copyright with an old Hallmark thing. I would doubt that very much.
The Gary Coleman estate has filed a complaint. Like, what?
Oh my God! Immediately, God.
Oh, this is like the raw. This is here we go. This is the raw version. So unfortunately, it's not color corrected. But it doesn't matter. I'll send it. What is it? 6 megabytes. Can we handle this?
I don't know.
I shall upload it to Google Drive and do that thing you showed me earlier.
Sounds good.
I didn't know you could do that easy. I've only been using Google Drive for like a decade.
All right. Well,
no. While you're doing that, wait, there you got it. Okay.
Well, yeah. Here's the car commercial here. So I'll go ahead and I'll play I'll turn down the audio a little bit here.
What's the price of this Mustang 2?
Well, this two-door hardtop has a base sticker price, excluding dealer prep.
Destination charges, title, and taxes.
$28.95.
I see. $28.95. Okay, now, what's the price for those fancy buckets?
Well, there's no extra charge. They're standard.
What about all those gauges?
They're standard.
The tachometer. I have to pay extra for that, right?
No, it's standard.
Standard. What about this thick plush carpeting?
Standard.
Oh, wait a minute. This isn't a 3-speed transmission. It's a 4-speed.
Right. No extra charge.
No extra charge.
Mustang 2 also gives you good gas economy. Standard at no extra charge. Of course, there are options available.
Aha! What if I want white wall tires? Extra, right?
Oh, yes. $30.
The remarkably well-equipped Mustang 2. By all standards, it's the right car at the right time. See your Ford dealer.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I've never seen him talk and him.
It's so funny because when he drops that register in his voice, it's just that's when you hear He-Man when he goes from up here and he goes down here. You're like, oh, it's He-Man.
Yeah.
The Mustang 2 actually, my dad has a green. We painted it black because I initially got that car as a senior in high school. So we painted it black because it was already rusted and everything, but it used to be green because my mom got it when she was a teenager, and then so we still have that Mustang too.
What?
Yeah.
I when you said you painted it black, I love the idea of maybe painting a Firebird on the bonnet. It's like a Pontiac Firebird.
Oh man, yeah. But the interior got redone. Too? James sent it to me.
Yeah, I just sent you the link.
Yeah, and also I sent you 2 more ads, or 2 or 3 or whatever.
Okay. All right, I'll get this downloaded.
Yeah, Joe was talking about walking up to a voice actor at a convention, asking them to, say this line, say that line. I've said this before. One of the best ones ever was Katie Carty walked up to, oh my God, Lion-O.
Larry Kenny?
Larry Kenny. I think we've just realised that something's happening with my brain during this podcast. So walks up to Larry Kenny. Oh, go on, show this.
Folks, trade in your old Volkswagen on a brand new one. Is this a new one?
That was quick. That was a quick one.
Go ahead, James.
Katie Carty walked up to Larry Kenny, and I just saw them interacting. The next thing, Larry Kenny, I'm sure she recorded. Larry Kenny belts out "By the power" with Lion-O voice. By the power of Grayskull. We were all like, "Oh my God, that's genius!"
Today, Wembley Neckwear asked the question: why do you wear Wembley ties?
My wife knows. It's my favorite present. Keeps me from spilling soup on my shirt.
Sir, why do you wear a Wembley?
Why do I wear a Wembley? Well, there's Karen.
Yeah, and Julie, and Suzanne.
Whatever your reason, there's a Wembley tie to suit your taste at fine stores everywhere. Wembley ties keep the elephants away. Everybody knows that. Wembley ties it all together.
I didn't know he had a tie one. I didn't even know about that one.
I like the one that said, like, oh, it stops you getting soup on your shirt. It's like,
soup?
That's because the tie's ridiculously large. You look like a clown. It's ridiculous.
And the other guy sounded like a man whore. He's like, I got one for this girl and this girl and that girl.
Yeah, she seemed fine with it. She's like,
no, she's
when,
okay.
When in Rome, you know, fuck a Roman. Sorry.
You're good.
Nathan, you went very dark and I couldn't see you for a second.
Downloaded in, why is it not?
I bet it's because it's like a shitty MOV file or something.
Yep, I think that's why it is.
Son of a...
Let's see if I can get it to play this way. Maybe. No.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It won't upload the video clip in that format. That's why I couldn't find it.
Okay. Oh. Well, I was going to mention something else, though. Just to show the heart of the man. I remember, now I know a lot of people got on the internet way before me, but when I finally was able to get on, and I couldn't remember if it was through He-Man.org, I remember hearing the audio message that he sent to somebody on the org. He went by Lion Court. Josh
Johnson, Josh Lion Court.
Yes, and he goes by Lion Court, and you heard the story of, I guess how that message. I don't know if that exists anywhere. I wish we could play that because that made me cry.
It's on YouTube.
It is on YouTube.
I just listened to it the other day. When I heard that was the first
when I heard that back then, I cried because I couldn't even imagine what Josh was going through, and then to hear your hero say that to you, what it must have meant to him.
You can also see him on the DVD extras when he meets Lou Scheimer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
let's see.
Josh is talking about how much the cartoon means to him, and all of a sudden, off screen you hear, "Hi, I'm Orko," like Lou Scheimer doing the voice. Like it's a very touching moment.
Well, one of the best things about that, the message he sent to Josh, is that you hear one bit where Alan Oppenheimer makes John Erwin laugh towards the end of the take, and he just does that. He does that giggle, and then he goes. He laughs and then breaks and then starts again. But I love the fact that they kept that in as well. It just kind of creates even more humanity. But it's such a lovely message. Like Josh, I remember talking about it. In the late 90s, and then he shared that, and then it's one thing I always kept thinking to myself. I want to animate it at some point.
Oh.
Yeah. Also, they sent him the audio for the first episode that was yet to premiere because this was right before second season.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I wonder if I should speak to him at some point.
Dushin found that video, so play that. And James, I'll upload it and see. I think I may have gotten this to work too, so we'll get the Hallmark commercial.
Hello, Joshua.
Here we go.
Hello, Joshua. This is He-Man. Somebody told me how much you enjoyed my adventure stories, so I thought I would send this special tape to you. It's yours to keep and play whenever you like. You know, Joshua, I have a lot of problems here on Eternia, but with the help of my good friends, I'm usually able to work things out. That's the way it is with friends. When everything is fine, well, it's great to have them around, you know, to help share the fun, the good times. But when I have a problem, well, that's when I really need them. It's not that they can always do something, but it sure helps just having them there, having a friend to talk to, somebody who really cares about me. Friendship, well, it's a very special thing. And that's why I'm sending you this message. I have a favor to ask. I'd like to be your friend. Well, I'm sure you have a lot of good friends already and a wonderful mother and father who help you work out your problems. But you can always use another friend. I know you can. Besides, I need a friend on your planet Earth. I mean, someone I can count on. Someone who can count on me. So how about it? Joshua and He-Man. Hey, I like the way it sounds. Wait until I tell Orko. Oh, I almost forgot. Orko, Tila, and Man-at-Arms made me promise to say hello to you for them. And they send their very best wishes. As for Cringer, well, he wanted to tell you himself. Cringer? Cringer? Come over here, Cringer. Now Joshua's listening to us. You want to say hello?
Joshua, nice to meet you.
All right, Cringer. You know, it's time for us to go and time for you to become Battle Cat so we can find out what Skeletor is up to.
If you don't mind, I'd rather stay here and talk to Joshua.
No, come on, Cringer. Sorry, you old fraidy cat, but we do have to go. Well, Joshua, we're off for another adventure. I've sure enjoyed talking with you, and I hope we can do it again soon. But for now, I'll leave you with these words. So long, friend.
I can see why, Joe, that made you cry, because that is very
beautiful.
A good little part.
That bit when he breaks gets me every time. That's just brilliant. It's like, sorry. It's so good. But it's such a beautiful. I'd love to know who wrote that as well, because someone at Filmation would have written that. It might have been Lou himself. I don't know.
Or maybe the consultant, the psychiatrist.
It could have been, Donald F. Roberts. Yeah, good shout. But yeah, whoever wrote it and obviously he acted it so beautifully. It's such a what I love about that clip that kind of Joe's already kind of talked about is there's so much kind of humanity and compassion. It's actually I just want to deviate slightly. I was at the German Grayskull Con last year, and something really interesting was said by Mark Taylor's wife, Rebecca. She was on stage, and the German Gunnar, the presenter, asked her what made He-Man He-Man. Now this is Mark Taylor's Mark Taylor's wife. The reason I keep saying Mark Taylor's wife is Mark Taylor obviously created He-Man and had a very specific vision of what He-Man was. He which I totally understand. He wanted the barbarian, the kind of that world, as it were. And he wasn't a fan of the Filmation cartoon, which is fair enough, because it deviates greatly from what he was trying to or thought he was establishing.
Yeah, but so did the comic book as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like the DC Comics deviated. But the when she was on stage talking about what makes He-Man He-Man, this is on YouTube somewhere, so I might misquote, but she basically said it's his compassion, his heart, and I just thought to myself, you're describing Filmation's He-Man. That's not me accusing Rebecca or anything, but it was very much like that shows you how much that He-Man, the Filmation He-Man, which I've always said has the most heart, has almost transcended into the minds of other creators in the sense of, this is He-Man. He's this guy with all this power, but has so much compassion and empathy and stuff. And he's not just an axe-wielding barbarian, because Conan did that back in the 70s, you'll find. And it's just that thing of, it's so amazing what John Erwin was a part of this amazing character when you think about it. It wasn't just going in and recording lines. It was recording lines a certain way, understanding the character, and obviously Lou Scheimer as well. Like, he had such an idea of what this cartoon was. It wasn't one of their, I love Filmation, but I always say their comedy shows are just the worst. But it wasn't a Filmation comedy show. It's like the He-Man Happy Hour. It's like, oh God, no. Watch Filmation's Droopy, and you'll feel your face drooping as you descend into darkness. But his Lou's vision for He-Man was so much more than what they'd been presented with by Mattel, and especially with the character of He-Man. And John comes in and does that voice. And obviously what you get with She-Ra is Melindy Britt coming in and giving with She-Ra, like what I loved about She-Ra's performance, or Melindy's performance of She-Ra, was, maybe it's the wrong word, but just the level of sass. There was like almost like a cocksureness to her performance of She-Ra. Like, I can smash all your vehicles. I can do this. I can do that. And that's one of those things I love. It's the confidence of Melinda's performances as She-Ra, and He-Man's. Obviously he's got great compassion too. But it is incredible when you look back, and it's like that. I think when I looked at, I did the post and I got lots of comments and stuff, and it's just the amount of people that felt it's crazy, such a connection to, this cartoon character. But it's how it impacts, and it's, it was well known by Filmation that He-Man wasn't just watched by kids; it was watched by university students. Straczynski did a report. He went to a convention in '85, and he was like, I was shocked. There's a wonderful report I need to put online at some point of all these like uni-aged teenagers, 20-somethings coming up to him going, "Oh, I love He-Man." Shit, like he said, women, men, everything, and it's just like, He-Man, are you sure? And it proved that what they were doing mattered. They were putting all this love and goodness out into the world. And I think when you do that without cynicism, without targeting a specific audience, you're going to get as much love back as you show, rather than going, you kind of need to be in this category to watch our show. Otherwise, it's not for you. It's like a show should be for everyone. That's if you know how to write, if you know how to produce a show, it should be for everyone. It can have a certain message, but it should be for everyone. To exclude is not what Filmation ever did. Filmation wasn't written for a certain audience. Filmation was written for everybody. The Filmation He-Man She-Ra.
For every fan of sword and sorcery.
Yep.
And superheroes and sci-fi and action adventure.
Yeah.
But they just these days they just don't get it. They just don't get it at all. Like you look at that latest Star Wars show, the Skeleton Crew, and there's like a scene where they're walking down a suburban neighborhood that looks so American, mundane. Like it's like supposed to be a different galaxy, different planet. It's like, what are you doing at that point?
James, do the thing again.
I'll be honest. I always had a problem with the first Star Wars, to be honest, because so many of those actors were just on British TV. It's like here's Emperor Calgon from the Dark Dimension. It's like, that's a teacher from Grange Hill, TV shows.
I mean, like if you look at the bounty hunter Bosk, he's wearing a costume from Doctor Who.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's wicked.
Yep.
We'll go ahead and play this commercial too and see what you guys. Is this confirmed? Yeah. Do you guys know that it's him, or you want to listen to it? And
let's go for it.
All right.
I don't know. Bottom of the ninth, Maltby at the plate, and here's the bet.
That's him. That's his voice.
Hasn't processed yet. Now, this slow processing thing is a tough break for this young kid.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay. Yeah,
Time for a Pentium 2 process.
No, what's amazing
thing is a tough.
Sorry, what's amazing about that is go and watch Babe. It's the exact same shot of two blokes on a microphone.
Oh, really? I've seen
seriously.
Babe a million times. I used to love that film as a kid, so I didn't remember that.
Oh, wow. So that is definitely John Erwin then.
Yeah, I've never seen Babe, so I know. But
it's a good movie.
Oh, it's a good movie.
And I might be wrong.
Baby will
and I
make
know
the
that
show
a lot of
hungry.
I know that a lot of you aren't a fan of Family Guy, but didn't he voice Prince
one
Adam
of
to
his
turn
last...
into He-Man?
Yeah, and see that's like there's another thing about his reclusiveness that at that time, what was happening online? You had a lot of He-Man is gay and us lame going on.
What, 2005,
2005 was the peak of that bullshit. So I'm guessing that it may have reached to him all that nasty bullshit online.
Or
Maybe
Seth
that's what
made
Seth
him. MacFarlane pulled up and backed a huge money truck into his garden and was like, ding, ding, ding.
No, but like after that, like before that, he also reprised the role for that 2000X He-Man, talking He-Man.
That's true, yeah.
And then comes Family Guy, and after that, he just goes completely radio silent. Like there's no new roles, no nothing. So it's like maybe all that bullshit that was going on online reached to him, and he said and he was like, "Fuck this shit."
I hope not. Hopefully, he's just an old guy. He just wants to.
Yeah, maybe they said like, "Well, we're just doing a little He-Man cameo."
Because that's another thing. Because he's old, he wasn't using internet online, so he wouldn't see how that bullshit went away over time. He wouldn't see that fans really, really, really appreciated him. Because all best he could hear is like, oh yeah, people want you at the convention, but like which people exactly? The people that actually care, or those that will crack jokes? So like from his standpoint, for all he knew, he could have gone there, and then there would be people who were like, "Hey, do the gay voice."
Well, of course, this is everything is. Remember, it's all speculation. I mean, again, we don't
Yeah,
know what his
'cause we
private life
don't
was
know.
like and why he wanted to, just be at home. We'll never know. But all I
can I
know
just
is like
read
the
you,
memories that we're always gonna. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Lee sent me the email the other day, which was just kind of an extension of when he met John Erwin, or how he got to meet him. So he said he turns up at this Filmation reunion event, and he says because Lee was very good friends with Lou Scheimer, and Lee said he remembers saying to Lou, "I don't even think I'll recognize John Erwin," and Lou said that he would make sure that Lee knew when John Erwin arrived. So sure enough, Lee said that he watched Lou doing the rounds kind of thing. That Lee's like chatting to people and stuff, kind of semi-watching Lou do the rounds. And he said, and he said, and then he deliberately made his way over with a mischievous look on his face, leaned in, and said, "That's John Erwin over there in the corner." And then he said abruptly glided away. And I said, "Yeah, that sounds exactly like something Lou would do." And he said that's when he went over to, he went out onto the balcony and saw John Owen, just like, hey, kind of thing. So yeah, it's God, so jealous of that interaction. It's like, Lee, you actually got to meet John Owen. It's
the
amazing.
only fan that did it.
Say again?
The only fan that did it.
There's two other fans. Sadly, one's no longer with us. It was the sister twins, I should say, Darius and Darianne, were these like super uber Filmation fans. I saw Darianne last time I was in.
Is it the guy that obtained all those early production artwork?
Yes, that's him. Yeah, obtained all the early production artwork. That's how.
Yeah, and all those rarities that he sold on DVDs.
Masters of Space, He-Man and the Masters of Space, and the rarity DVDs. Yeah, DVD on the Run, I think, was his DVD.
Video on the Run.
Video on the, yeah. And so Darius and Darianne had a very close connection with John Erwin, and would. I think Lee, when they were, this is one thing that Lee didn't mention, but I remember Lee saying that when they were at this reunion, Darius and Darianne came over, and they were talking, and they were saying, I can't remember the conversation, but John Erwin like kind of gestured to the twins and was like, "Yeah, they're even mowing my lawn," because they were that fanish about him that they would visit his house and like, "Oh, what do you want done?" And they would do shopping for him and stuff. So they were like proper. I mean, they were lovely. Like the brother sadly passed away, quite a few years ago now. But I saw Darianne. Was that in 2023? And she's still got a lot of fond memories of hanging out with John Erwin.
Doesn't she still operate the website?
I think she does still operate the website, yeah, because I think if you order from her, you still get DVDs a lot of the stuff that's out there, that's all those Filmation rarities, is from their collection, some of which they got from Lou Scheimer directly.
I want to say maybe Tyler ordered something from there. At one point.
Probably.
I think he did. Well, do you want to play a little bit of the Hallmark commercial?
If you've got it working, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I went through.
It'll just be like freeze frames.
I mean, it may mess us up, but I'll play it on the screen. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
We're asking our panel of experts what they think of our Valentines this year. Hey, what you got there?
That's a striped horse, and that's a porcupine.
Oh, those are limericks, aren't they?
No, they're animals.
I see you're wearing your Valentine.
He put it on me.
He did? How'd he do it?
All you have to do is just pull this down and... Who'd wear these shoes? Snoopy.
That did it.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Wanda.
Wanda who?
Wanda wish you a happy Valentine's Day. You pull for the egg and you push for the chicken. I got this many.
Wow, which one do you like the best?
He likes mine. Come on, brother. See, it stands up.
It sure does.
Happy Valentine's Day. That's nice. Hey, McDermott, I got a whole box. He took them all. Oh, no, he didn't. Not all of them. Who makes these Valentine's cards, Mr. Erwin?
Well,
I know. Hallmark.
that's right, Hallmark. And you know what they always say? Hallmark, when you care enough.
To send the very best. That's
You know, the scary part is that one of those kids could be Joe.
Could be.
That's
who knew
adorable.
Gary Coleman and He-Man hanging out together.
There you go.
Valentine's
Yep.
card.
And then, ironically, Hallmark would get to own Filmation Library.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. I've never seen him
as a human.
live. Yeah, as a human. So this has been awesome. I've seen more of him tonight than I have ever. It's awesome.
Same.
That was really cute. That last one was my favorite one. That was really sweet.
We tie it all in because
He-Man cards.
Oh wait, I take it back. If he was a Babe, I've seen him Babe. I just didn't realize it.
Yeah, like I said, I never thought that was him, but that shot from that commercial was exactly the same shot in Babe. So I don't know if they had
That's weird.
yeah. I need
Maybe
to
they
rewatch-
used stock footage for that commercial.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like we need some presenters. Oh, well, let's just take it from this advert we got.
I mean, it could have because Babe came out what 97.
Yeah, and that commercial was 98, right?
Yeah, so it could have very well been.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah, that's.
We've just solved the mystery. Like if we put the two together, like the world explodes. The universe was like, you're not meant to make the connection. It's like, oh man.
I mean, James, it's probably going to do that soon enough anyway. We don't
That's
need
true. Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh man, good stuff. Uncovered, showing off some stuff that I've never seen before. A lot of people in the chat hadn't seen before, so it's good times all around. Given the circumstances, to unearth all this stuff and to show it to everyone collectively has been really awesome to do.
And, you know, there's another iconic character that he voiced way back in 1970s. He did Dick Tracy on the Archie
the
cartoon.
Dick Tracy thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he do a lot of other cartoons too? I mean, you guys, between you two, James and Dushan, I'm sure you know all the other stuff he's done.
Like he didn't do as many as like Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, but whenever he did, you would instantly recognize his voice.
Well, I know somebody in the chat a while back mentioned Morris the Cat.
He did the Morris the Cat ads.
Yeah. There's was it a cartoon or a cartoon special? Aesop Tales, or however you pronounce that.
Oh, Aesop Tales, yeah.
Yeah, it was Filmation cartoon that also starred Bill Cosby, unfortunately, but you know, it's like
John, just have a little drink of this, John. That's fine.
I'm not falling for that again.
How dare you, Bill? Yeah, the weirdest one was he pops up doing his kind of it was more of a Prince Allen voice in, I think it was the bizarre. I don't be able to remember the name of the cartoon, but it was the cartoon with the Thing as a secret identity or the superpower. It was like, Thing ring, do your thing, and he would transform into the Thing.
Oh yeah, that Hanna-Barbera cartoon, Fred and Barney meet the Thing. When they discovered, like, oh hey, we still have the rights to that character. Let's make a cartoon. It's so weird because, like, you look at the trade adverts.
But it was just the
for
Thing
that
from the
cartoon.
Fantastic Four, like in another.
It's just by himself.
That would have confused the shit out of me as a kid. Like I remember when I first saw Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, I was confused by what was Firestar's secret identity?
Angelica Jones.
Yeah, and I was like, she looks like Mary Jane.
Yeah.
But
Well,
then I
enough of
caught
that.
on. I'm like, they just look the same. They're not the same woman. And I'm like, they could be.
And 5. Morris.
I thought she was dead.
I'll be like new after my wheat germ.
Wanna bet?
Have to eat right. Oh, I've got something good for you, too.
Who says I need improving?
Good things like chicken, fish, liver. It's 9 Lives Super Supper.
Super supper? I could stretch to the bowl.
9 Lives unique recipes. Nutritious foods even the most finicky cat can't resist.
9 Lives, you're my kind of workout.
Play that ad again. Sorry, I just want to. Sorry, not to be demanding. Play that ad again.
Do it.
5.
Just thought out.
Morris.
I thought she was dead.
I'll be like new after my wheat germ.
That's I was going to say the woman voice.
The female?
That's not Melindy Britt, is it? Doing like an older voice.
And 5 more.
It almost sounds
I
like
thought she was.
And 5 Morris.
I thought she was dead.
I'll be like new after my wheat germ.
Wanna bet?
Have to eat right.
It's possible.
Yeah, it kind of has tones where it sounds like her.
It's either her or June Foray.
Yeah.
It's either her or June Foray.
Yeah, June Foray.
Maybe they had. Maybe he and Linda Gary had same agency.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. I wonder. During this whole, people remembering John Erwin, how many people have misremembered or misstated that John Erwin was the voice of He-Man, the, Filmation commercial for Castle Grayskull. Because the amount of people I when I posted that, and a bunch of people on YouTube, always like, always get the comments like, "Oh, He-Man, this is the voice of He-Man before, the actual He-Man cartoon." It's like, no, it's Burr Middleton, who was the voice of Shazam. Because when you look at the timeline, Shazam was Burr Middleton, Linda Gary, Alan Oppenheimer, and that commercial, the Master of the Castle Grayskull one, the heavily rendered one, the heavy metal one we call it, is Burr Middleton, Linda Gary, and Alan Oppenheimer doing their voices. But people are like, "That's John Erwin." It's like, I don't know.
Because the two of them have so similar voices. Like if you have the time later on, you can find on YouTube interview from a few years ago with Burr Middleton on some Australian podcast about a dub of a Japanese show. But like when you hear his voice, it's like John Erwin speaking. Like it's so eerie how close they are to one another.
There was another one. This is very random. I met a couple of years ago. I was watching the TV series That Girl. It's a great show. The dad in that series was. I was just like, this guy sounds exactly like John Erwin. It must be just like a region of America or something, but it just sounded so much like John Erwin. Every time he would be on screen, I'm like, why is He-Man talking to this woman about her relationships? It was just, it was bizarre.
Well, I think maybe I didn't know if you wanted to get anything from the chat, maybe some other thoughts, memories, or anything like that, Nathan, or did you think maybe to wrap?
I wasn't tagging so much about the comments they were leaving in here about John Erwin, but I could. I mean, a lot of earlier on too, when we were talking about Carol Burnett when she eventually passes, how much that'll suck. There's so many people when they pass away that were so impactful to us as children.
That there's Mel Brooks.
Yeah,
Mel Brooks.
There's so many.
Christopher Lloyd.
It still feels weird knowing that Razor Ramon is gone. Like,
and it's kind of different when, it's weird how you look at things. We see people and how they get older and older, and we got to realize that obviously nobody can live forever, and people change, they get old. And when somebody like passes away like that, I don't know if when you see that as a human passing away, it might hit in different ways. And with a voice of a cartoon character, the thing is, this cartoon character is always going to look the same forever, but the voice and the actor behind it, they live forever, and that's a real person. Yeah. And it hits in, for me, I can't explain why it hit different, because you have heroes, and you have heroes in real life, whether it could be your parents, whether it's celebrities, athletes, whatever. And you see how people can change. And I guess when you look at He-Man and this hero and the voice actor behind it, he's always going to look the same. He's always going to mean something to us. And even knowing and seeing the actor now behind the voice, it's still just as powerful just to see too. It's good to see the humanity and what the person, what he looked like, It's different to see him, because I've only always had the vision of He-Man. So it's kind of made it felt a little more real even now, seeing him, with this many different iterations. And it's weird how it just hits me twice now. It's I don't know. It's kind of hard to put into words what it means.
It's that you spend so many years of your life with that man being around. But then all of a sudden comes this period where it's like he's no longer around, but his work is still here, and his work is just as you remember from your childhood.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's very well said, Dushin.
That's very important for all fans to be fans, not corporate bootlickers. Be fans. No. I'm making a point because don't let this stuff get buried.
Yeah.
No.
Because if you get it buried, then this man just is gone entirely, and that's not going to be fair.
I think one interesting comment I saw was like, obviously, I said in the comments, people were like really upset. Like people messaged me privately and was like, "This really hurts," and it's like, obviously it's gonna hit people differently. I had one, very touching soul just write, because I wrote, "I'm devastated to hear that." He wrote, "Devastated, really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I explained to him why. He responded, "Oh, are you from America?" And it's like, who is this? What kind? I have a conversation with AI or something.
And you speak English, isn't that enough?
But what amazed me is like, imagine telling someone how they're supposed to grieve. It's like if you don't understand my ability, my what's the best way to put it? If you don't understand my ability to grieve, then you'll never understand my ability to love. It's that thing, isn't it?
Right,
it's like if you can't appreciate my grieving, then you'll never understood why I love so much. It's that I love what John Erwin did. It's like we were all hit, some more than others, obviously, depending on how much you consumed. It's like, a death in anything. It's like, when I heard David Lynch passed away, I was like, oh man, that hurts. Not as much as John Erwin, but obviously there are David Lynch fans and people in that world that are absolutely heartbroken. And I'm not going to go to them and go, heartbroken, really?
You can't
it's like
tell
you go to
anybody how they
funerals
should
just
feel.
judging people. Yeah,
Right.
That's a projection. They don't feel anything.
Of course
so they
it
just
is.
assume
It's a
other people don't
projection.
feel anything.
Well, it's something that Adam Gabbard had actually mentioned in the chat earlier, talking in regards to Jim Henson and how long Jim Henson has been gone at this point. And I remember when Jim Henson passed away, it was pretty much not long after the live action Ninja Turtle movie had come out.
Yeah.
And that affected me in a way, and it affects me in a way continually, because now they've put out documentaries on it, and it just adds to that. And I it would be awesome to see, maybe given how John Erwin was and wanting to stay away from wanting to come to conventions, if it would be cool if there was a way to maybe make a documentary about him and his life, to kind of maybe shed a little bit more, but also just put it out there and celebrate him in the way that he needs to be celebrated.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe one day something like that can happen. I mean, you could hope. And it is terrible that there's people that are so heartless or cynical, and just because their lives aren't happy, they don't want others to be happy. And you're right, you can't tell somebody how to feel. I mean, the way we feel about, it's like these memories we have, and they live with you forever. There's all sorts of memories you have. And when you try to take that away from,
well, it's like, Joe, how you were talking earlier about how He-Man being there for you during that time in your life when you're going between houses and dealing with that. And that was your way of finding comfort throughout that scenario that you're going through. Even though being that young, your mind can't totally process exactly what's happening, but you had that there.
Cartoons and stuff can save lives of kids. I've heard stories.
Yeah, it is. That was just inducing. You really ripped it. I was just going to say, I got to escape into another world, another reality, to where there were no things of reminders of what I was going through or bad stuff. There was no reminders of everything looked different. It didn't look like Earth, and just there was these fantastic creatures and beings and locations and everything and powers that didn't exist. And I felt like I escaped. And for just, that half hour, I know there were 20-some minute episode 22, but still with commercials, a half hour, I got to escape from bad things that was going on I was thinking about. And I went to this world, and everything was good. And there was a hero, and there was right wrong and a nice moral at the end, where I really believe that is something that the world could sorely use right now. As some people mock it, and they're people that, again, for whatever reason, will say, oh, those had the cheesy morals. No, you didn't get it. You don't understand what that meant. That hit. It was not like a PSA to people the whole episode. And at the end, you got something that stuck with you. And I remember going to the store when the 2000 X line was out. I'll never forget this old lady that was walking up and down the aisles, and she was looking for some gifts for her grandson. And I was getting the new 2000X He-Man figures. As she walked by me, she's like, wait, He-Man? He-Man's back? She's like, oh my God, I remember that. She was like, I remember my son loved He-Man, and I love those morals. And just hearing her say that, I was like, oh God, it got me right here to hear this older lady say this. And now she was like, is He-Man up there? I was like, well, let me look. I was like, here he is. She's like, I'm going to get that for my grandson. And she looks so goddamn happy. And I wish this happiness could kind of come back, where, the heart of John Erwin and all the other voice actors back then, but they embraced the roles and they became those characters, and they put all their blood, sweat, and tears and love and heart into those voices and those roles. And it wasn't cynical, and it's not like nowadays. Sometimes I feel like people get a voice acting role for something based off of something in the 80s or something new, and they're not putting that love and passion. And I feel like something's missing. I wish that could return. Some kind of power, let the power return. I wish that could return.
It's funny what you say there about the older lady. To this day, my mother still remembers going to see The Secret of the Sword at the cinema with me. And she's like, oh yeah, I remember he had really lovely music. I mean, my parents still record a lot of He-Man and She-Ra, because I put them through a lot of He-Man and She-Ra growing up. The telly was either watching He-Man or recording He-Man or some other 1980s cartoon. But she remembers The Secret of the Sword pretty surprisingly well. It's because it wasn't just here's a flashy cartoon. It was just oh, this is actually quite entertaining. And it's because, again, the writers and everybody involved, John Erwin, producers, writers, animators, everybody was making
storyboard artists.
Yeah, everyone was making a show that had a mass appeal, not let's pick one target audience and make sure we tell everyone that we're picking one target audience. It's just, like Joe said, the cynicism in modern writing is astonishing. And the bizarre thing I find is just He-Man and She-Ra had the ability, the Filmation ones I'm talking about here, had the ability to appeal to us, and yet they weren't using things like cool or dope or crap or I'm not saying cartoons ever swearing, but those colloquialisms. It's astonishing to me now how so many TV shows, every time I see a clip of a modern Star Trek, they're using today's colloquialisms.
I fucking love science. On Discovery, literally.
There we go.
Actually, that would be great if James T. Kirk just went, Spock, I fucking love science. God damn it, Jim.
But you're right.
In modern Star Trek, it would be Spock, I think I'm gay.
But modern vernacular and Earth vernacular, just something but I'll never forget also, like you said, the way that they could reach us back then and get us in the heart. I'll never forget when I seen Secret of the Sword at the theaters, and that moment when the sorceress was talking to Adora through the sword. Remember, waking her up, and it's time for you to seek your destiny and let your heart guide. Remember the whole speech, and when she said, this man is your brother, Adora, and Adora, he needs your help for the honor of Grayskull. And then when she seen him losing his power, and when she held that sword up and said, for the honor of Grayskull, holy shit, I remember the crowd and me fucking lost it. I'm getting goosebumps right now, I was getting chills. It was emotional. You're screaming. It's like they just found a way to connect with you through these cartoons. It's such a powerful way of doing it. And that moment when you say, holy shit, She-Ra, I love how the sorceress, every time I watch that damn movie, when that part comes, I still get that fucking feeling when I was a kid. Every time.
That's
it
good.
Gets you.
I'm glad you never lost that, Joe.
Because
it's easy to do as you get older, honestly.
It is.
Yeah, there's some movies like that for me where I watch them. The Last Unicorn's like that. I watch it and I still feel like being 5 and watching it for the first time and just being so impacted by it.
And the thing about Filmation is that there was a constant push against the mantra of It's just for kids. Don't overthink it. That's why some storyboard artists took upon themselves to start writing, because they were sick of bullshit scripts that some would do. Because, like, unfortunately, some were along the lines of like, it's for kids, whatever. But many others weren't.
Yeah, totally.
It was, when you look back at that, it's amazing. Like Robert Lamb, he said, tired of storyboarding another kind of script that he didn't think was very good. Thinks, I want to write an episode, so writes Into the Abyss, and then that gives John Erwin this wonderful material of Prince Adam just like talking to Cringer about what it is to be He-Man and the fact that he's tired of being He-Man. You just think, that's amazing. That shows the level of care. There's a writer there going, I kind of want to explore this aspect of the character.
Yeah.
The same with Bob Ford writing these scripts. It's like, I want to, this, again, everything I say about He-Man is obviously reflected in She-Ra. There's that, the writers caring to try and, because you're writing, imagine like Robert Lamb, you've seen the first season of He-Man, you know what the show is, and it's like, I want to see this come to life. That makes you a fan as a writer. It's not just
especially it's a reflection of what they were fans of as well, because the Arena was based on a Star Trek episode.
Star Trek, yeah.
Disappearing Dragons was also based on a Star Trek episode.
Yeah,
you get that whole thing about Adam in Into the Abyss. That's very much along the lines of Spider-Man. Peter Parker.
Well, like Paul Dini said, like his whole influence was a lot of that Stan Lee, John Romita Spider-Man era.
Yeah.
So that's why Prince Adam No More is titled Prince Adam No More, because it sounds like a 1960s Marvel comic book title. Such a great title, Prince Adam No More, Spider-Man No More.
And you have that photograph of Don Manuel reading a DC comic book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was. I mean, it's so amazing.
Plus, also the Swanigan, he got that fake Neptune design. Like, this is totally not this character from Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it's not Ramatut at all. It's not the time traveling Kang at all. And we ain't going to get in trouble for this. It's
also, here's Dragon's Lair 2 character that's completely original.
But it's that thing of, you had, like we're saying, you had fans working on a creative level. So it is amazing to me, to some degree, that the actors would come in, like John Erwin, Oppenheimer, Linda Gary, and be able to give so much heart to these characters when technically you're there to perform as a character. Yeah, of course. But again, it shows you how much level of care there was in production, and how much these actors cared, because they clearly put so much into it. It's obvious. I mean, it's obvious from that Josh DeLinecourt message. That to me is a great summary of, like, almost like an outtake, as it were. It's someone not getting paid to, probably just did that for free. It's like in the recording booth, it's like, hey John, we've got the message for this kid, or what's the backstory? Oh yeah, I'll happily do this. Him and Alan Oppenheimer, and then they do it. And it's that to me speaks volumes about the actors. It's not just an act of kindness. It's so much like love put into it, from all facets.
And all that without any fanfare in the media.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, yeah. It's crazy.
It's not like Ghostbusters 2016 when they were photographing in front of comatose patient, and you're like, hey, look, the cast of the new Ghostbusters movie, come watch our movie. And in the back you see this black little girl being like,
that dude just trails off there. We got this from Sean Darren. It's something you guys mentioned. I feel that way in the Return of Faker episode. Thank you, James and Dushin, for making that episode. I can never get enough.
It is funny, like, rather kind of what's the like, not arrogance, but when I was thinking about John Owen having passed, I was just like, oh my God, we got to, like, Dushan and I got to create new dialogue and make it convincing enough that people thought that we'd rehired the actors. It's like, oh, we wish. But it's that thing of being able to do that and create, again, having that wealth of material and being able to create new dialogue and make it flow almost, I'd say 99% seamlessly. It's just, again, it speaks to their performances. It wasn't just like we better say this line, we better say that line. You're able to like do that and go, oh, we just created a new conversation with He-Man and Teela in the Wind Raider or something. I love that scene. If I do say so myself.
It's like, give it, James, just do the Barry Horowitz right now. You deserve it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Pat yourself on the back.
Hey, Nathan, I've just sent you the picture.
Oh, what's he sent us?
Well, I will get to his photo momentarily. A few other things. Thompson Hereford Farm, you guys did a great job of honoring John's memory tonight. A fine man with a fine career. We, of course, get a great episode, everyone. And I did want to read a message that I got from Gavin. For those who know me, wasabi. For those who don't, hi. So I know 1,000 of these exist. I wouldn't say 1,000 and as it pertains to us, Gavin, but I wanted to express how much this podcast means to me. For a lot of my life, I felt alone and been a bit of an outcast. Since I'm into most things people my age aren't. I only have one best friend in real life, so when I came across this podcast talking about He-Man, I felt a sense of belonging. Joe has become an older brother to me and is someone I value very much like family. I can't tell you how many times I had a smile on my face from funny comments, posts, and receptions from my antics. So, yeah, of course, we appreciate having you around.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that kind of pertained to just kind of that, and to just like impacts and stuff, like how this show has kind of formed its own little niche community based off of this cartoon that, while is very popular in some regards, talking about John Erwin compared to other voice actors, is kind of in that similar vein of just being very different from one another, like how people perceive different shows and different voice actors, what have you. What else do we have here? Gavin also said, John Erwin's I Have the Power would have been just as requested as Kevin Conroy's I Am Vengeance, I Am the Night, I Am Batman.
Yeah, it's interesting, going back to what Joe was saying earlier about if John Erwin had attended one convention. Like I said before, Val and Danielle were trying to get him to come to PowerCon numerous times. And it's like, if he just attended one convention, I always said, like, if you promoted that, the amount of people, I think, from across the world, fans of He-Man, be like, this is probably your only chance to meet the voice of He-Man. Los Angeles alone, California, America, like I say, Great Britain, Germany, whatever, all these different Spain, all these different countries, I think that would have seen the line for him alone would have been nuts. I think, because I mean, when Melindy first attended, that was pretty crazy, because it was like the voice of She-Ra's here. But like, I could just imagine a line of people just wanting a signature, let alone a chat from John Erwin. And also, like, dare I say, not to be cutthroat about it, if he charged $5 a signature, if you're like, it's like, oh, I can pay for my second house, you know what I mean? But it's that thing of, I think he would have, it'll always be the case that he never did a convention, so it'll always be a what if. But I think it's like such a magical what if question, because I think it'd have been crazy.
It would have been, yeah. Especially, you could have even advertised as like the one and only time.
Yeah, easily, because it probably would have been. I remember when Alan Oppenheimer did PowerCon in 2011. So that was his first. Yeah, it was his first. And I don't know if he'd done any conventions prior to that. And he turned up, and it was the second day, and I think he was getting ready to leave. And I remember like speaking to his agent, and I was like, "Can I get a photo?" Because I know no one was allowed to take photos with Alan Oppenheimer. There was like a no photo policy. It was just like signing.
That's weird.
I think I've told you the Carl Weathers story. I'll come back to that in a second. But he was just there just to sign and stuff and do the panel. So I think he was mainly walking around and stuff. So it was like I say, he was getting ready to leave, and I just said to his agent, "Can I get a photo with Alan?" They were like, "Oh, so long as you kind of post it online and say something nice about it." And I was like, "Oh, is that all it takes?" Okay. So I just took a photo next to Alan. Everyone's like, "How'd you get your photo of Alan Oppenheimer?" I was like, "I just asked." It was really weird.
Photo fine. Trying to get him to write an extensive quote, not so much.
He asked for a picture with me.
Right.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was like, "Can I get a picture with you?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Well, look at you. You're pulling the reverse here at everything. 2 more questions. We'll show the photo here that Dushan sent, which is unbelievable, and then we'll go ahead and we'll call it an episode. JSP, question: as much as you might dread this, with the surgence of AI, do you see actors who are no longer with us reprising their roles? Much like John Erwin as He-Man. Well, they have to go through estates to make that happen. So
you're already kind of seeing that in some things with deepfake.
That plus overall, they wouldn't even care. Like honestly, like they just wouldn't even care to replicate those voices, because all these people that are trying to do the new and improved take are precisely doing that. They're doing their own take. They don't have any respect for this stuff.
Just to give a quick example of that, it's what Ren said last week when he was saying, I think Michael Jackson did a voice or a song, or they did AI from Willy Wonka. I was like, was it, like pure imagination? He's like, I don't know. So after the show, believe it or not, I looked it up. Sure enough, on YouTube, it has AI of Michael Jackson singing Pure Imagination. And the thing is, it feels weird to me. It's like, that's not Michael. I know they're trying to capture his voice. It's looking like him and the voice sounds close, but it's not him. And
it doesn't have a soul behind it.
Yeah,
especially for such a soulful singer like him.
Right, I can't vibe with it. You're right, because it's there's no soul. It's not real. And I know some people would like certain characters, cartoons, whatever, with AI to live forever, but no, I want it to be as what we had, not what did not exist. This is not them. It feels artificial. It is artificial. It's not real.
Plus give it a real
it all depends.
Voice actor work and don't AI stuff.
Yeah, it all depends on who's doing it. Because if it's some random piece of shit guy who doesn't really care, you're gonna get a sloppy piece of shit. Otherwise, you're gonna get Johnny Cash singing about the Barbie girl.
Right.
Dushan and I have talked about this quite a lot recently with the whole AI thing, because I cloned, because I've got the voice recording sessions. I cloned like Stan Lee's voice perfectly, like Stan Lee. Okay. And Dushan and I played with that. It's like, oh wow, because the whole thing is with Marvel Productions in the 1980s, when you think about a lot of those Marvel shows, Spider-Man, His Amazing Friends, The Incredible Hulk, Stan Lee would do the narration, like, hey, true believer, this is Stan Lee. Have you ever wondered why Peter Parker, blah, 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 blah.
Fuck, I hit the table.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was able to clone his voice. And I said to Dushan, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if instead of Victor Caroli, who did the narration for the Transformers cartoon, if it was Stan Lee? So basically did that as a test. And it was so scarily convincing. I thought, this is amazing. And then I was like, but I don't feel comfortable ever putting
You're part of the problem, James.
Oh, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just tell Stanley's soul.
I will fight. I will Nathan, I will have you know that Tyler disagrees with me. In fact, he'll send you a message later telling you how much he disagrees.
Okay.
Yeah. And Sean might ask you for more money.
Don't look him in the eyes. He hates that.
So actually, I did kind of lie. So 2 more questions. One came from Adam Gabbard. He was wondering, and James, I don't know if you have any information on this, like the pay rate that these guys were getting paid at the time for doing these voices. Has that ever been released publicly to anyone?
I don't know. Like, I can only put things in, I guess, comparatively speak. I don't know. It's a tricky one, because like I know how much storyboard artists were paid. I think it's amazing. Like Robert Lamb in 1983 was getting, it doesn't mind me saying this, like a lot of money. Back then, 1980s, like dollars. Like I think they were getting.
You're going to get his house invaded by IRS.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, you don't have to like say specific numbers.
No, but it was surprising. Put it that way. I would imagine a voice actor, because it depends.
I mean, Tom Cito literally bought a house thanks to him, and
I went to, last time I was in Los Angeles, I went to Tom Tadaranov's house, and it was next to Lou Scheimer's house. I've never been to a house like that where I'm like, oh, is this what being a millionaire is like?
His toilet room is probably as big as your bedroom.
Yeah, I mean that's not a hard challenge,
but,
right now. Here's the other.
Was there a grotto at least? Was there? You got a little grotto going on, a little Playboy grotto?
I mean, like, you can only hope, but not really. That's a sad thing, because that's what I'd have. I just have a pool with just. Did you ever see Master P's cribs?
I mean, I would have to probably, but I'd have to go back and rewatch
paintings of yourself on the wall. Yeah, here's me here, motherfucker. This is me with my dogs. Here's me again with my gold teeth. Here's me with a ring on my finger. Here's me, and like
I should have this photo
exactly.
while you're doing this.
That's what I was representing, man. But the funniest thing.
Got my own paintings right here. I got mine.
When you look
right
at Master P's,
no one wants to see those paintings, Joe. Come on.
I got my own paintings.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the other ones that you have.
I mean, you also had that sculpture of King Keith that you made.
It's beautiful. Made that when I was 11 years old when I was in school.
Warwick Davis.
Oh, did you ain't seen that work of art, James? God damn it! I'm gonna pick that shit up while they're talking. Oh, it's a work of art.
All right. Well, while Joe's getting that, one last question, Oliver Belmont. If you were to create a time machine, what specific year in the 1980s would you travel back and like to spend a 2-week vacation in?
Oh, I know the answer to this.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry. I would travel back to the week of, I guess, when would it have been? The 20, I guess, maybe the 19th, 20th of August, 1987. A few days before my 10th birthday, when I decided to run through a plate glass window in Toys R Us and got scars.
Oh, yeah, that story.
Exactly, for the rest of my life. Like, you can't really see them. My scars have healed up quite nicely over the years.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I got one there.
Way to
I got
go,
another one
dipshit!
here.
Oh my god, can't believe you did that, James. Way to go.
It was a proper near death thing. But it's like I would love to go back and be like, yeah, that will never torment you for the rest of your life. You definitely won't have PTSD every time you see a window closing. It's like, no, I'll be fine after that. So,
or ironically, in a Twilight Zone manner, you probably end up pushing yourself.
Yeah, I'll be like, come here and I push me, and then I go back and I always did push me. It did seem weird that I just ran into
there was this strange bearded man.
I do that stuff all the time.
Rebecca, where would you go back to?
It's hard to say. I don't know exactly. Maybe
specific
I don't know
year.
a specific year. I don't know what would be the best year in the 80s.
Oh, actually, I saw a comment. Gavin S says 1989. My father and I, we went to Canada. I always talk about this holiday. Canada, 1989. We saw so many films in that August. It was ridiculous. Went to Canada on holiday. Every evening we'd go to the cinema. We saw Batman, Indy 3. I've forgotten all the films, but like Ghostbusters 2. God knows why.
Great. All right. Well, that was enough of James. So get him out of here.
There he goes.
He's done for the show.
All right. Well, you got
Ghostbusters 2. Sorry.
Fuck you, James. See, Ghostbusters 2 is fine. It is perfectly fine.
It's fine for one scene. Who are you going to call?
He-Man.
As Tyler would say, James, you can eat my ass. I mean, not really.
There you go.
I'd be more than happy to.
I mean, Patreon exclusive coming up, I suppose. Exactly. All right, Joe, what you got?
All right. I'll go back to the day I made this in the 80s with my king hits and say, Joe.
God, every time you hold that up, I think it's like ginger root.
Listen, so the King Hiss and the Mechadrone. I love the Mechadrone, love King Hiss. I go back and say, Joe, someday you're going to actually do this for a living. I put JA on the bottom, and I put JACC on the bottom of all my stuff, but look at that. I've kept that from my childhood. Oh, it's rough. What did you say?
I said you were 20 when you made that.
Last week.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Man, I don't know. The paint was dripping. I was making ashtrays.
Joe, question. Why is his underwear brown?
Shut up, man. That's the paint. It's the only paints we had. It looked like you took a shit. But I've seen it was bleeding. And I lost it, went in some big ass oven. You see the good, that's good in the front, and then you took a shit.
Oh, yeah, he shit himself.
That's cute.
Gavin says it kind of looks like a stop motion sculpture from Prometheus and Bob. Yeah.
We've already
he shot himself.
I figured it out. Joe needs to go back to the year he made that and not make it.
Yeah,
yeah, because it's younger self to shit himself.
It looks like dog crap, shit or.
No, in fairness, Joe, I was always terrible at making stuff. So bravo for you for doing that last week.
I mean, honestly,
I remember the teacher
that looks like
looked
something
so.
I would have made as a kid.
Yeah, the teacher was like, "Wait, what is this you're making?" Because no kid in
what's
class,
wrong with
all
you?
you'd ever see was the classic ashtray.
Yeah.
You'd always see the ashtray and a mug. That's all anybody ever made. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm gonna make King His. I got extra
This was
clay.
in the middle of Satanic Panic.
No kidding. It was extra clay, and I did the Mechadrone too. I was like, I love the Mechadrone.
Is that the Mechadrone? Is that from the Tyrannosaurus Rex?
Yes.
That's amazing that you made that. That's so
I know.
random.
Yeah.
What creativity?
And I was doing it. No, you
Honestly,
gotta
if I
me.
saw a little
to...
kid doing that, even if it's shit like that, I still like encourage it.
Thanks, Rebecca. Like, you don't look like
Just
shit.
because the creativity is nice.
Keep in mind, I was doing this all by memory. So yeah, I apparently thought King Hiss was taking a shit, but this was all out of my head. God damn it, James.
The teacher threw themselves out the window because they knew they couldn't top Joe's artistic genius.
Rebecca's backhanded compliment. That was amazing. If I saw a kid doing like shit like that, it's just...
God damn, Rebecca! No, let me get this out. See, I'm getting the Mechadrone out of here.
This was a photo of Joe actually prepping to make that. By the way,
sketching it.
Yeah,
now,
he's
look,
sketching it out.
Now you gotta give me credit. Now think of this.
No,
I'm
Joe,
in class. I'm in class. I'm going by memory. Here's the real Mechadrone, and here was mine.
That's amazing. That's genuinely.
I mean, really.
Yeah, for a little kid,
and
it's pretty awesome.
I mean, when you turn it to the side, turn it back to the side the way you had it, they probably think that Joe's just trying to like mold penises or something.
Shut up! Now think of this. This was extra too, because I was like, I got extra clay. What am I gonna do? And I was like, I'm gonna make the Mechadrone. I'm pretty goddamn proud of myself.
No, you should have. That was awesome.
Good job.
I appreciate that.
Counts.
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. Punch her in her fucking throat.
Wow. on that note, Joe, go ahead and take us home.
Oh wait,
okay, well there
the
was
photo
one
first.
final.
Oh yeah,
take us home, Joe.
Oh god. Oh boy.
What's going
on?
Look at that, Joe.
There is one more.
This is
I
terrible.
question.
That's horrible.
Papa Hoods. Now this does lead to something again of showing what He-Man can mean to everybody. Papa Hood 69 did have a question. He said, favorite line from He-Man, from the cartoon. There was a couple. We know when he saved Skeletor, what he said to Skeletor, but the one that he said to Dragoon, you know, when he's like, you know, I may be your enemy, but you're not mine. It shows the love and just of this man embodied everything good. The enemies that he had, but he wouldn't treat them as enemies, even though they treat him a certain way. He always wanted to do the right thing. To save every life is important, even to save Skeletor's. All life is important, and it's a good lesson to how you should always treat people, of being good to one another. And I see a lot of, like, you know, sometimes in modern cartoons and shows where the heroes sometimes are, you know, they're killing, they don't care. It's a little edgier. You can't be a Boy Scout and just be a good guy, but I always say, what is wrong with that, of embodying all the goodness that we should have for one another? And to know that, you know, he could have let Skeletor die. He could have let Dragoon die, but he values all life. And I miss that. And that's what He-Man meant to me. He actually did with that cartoon and the way he portrayed it. He taught me about trying to be good to everybody. Now, I've told you stories. Yes, I know there's stories where I got into fights. It was all self-defense. And yes, I did a vicious thing at one time.
Biting people's fingers off.
I know I bit part of a finger off. I know, listen, I know.
Kicking people in the balls, self-defense.
I guess it didn't work.
It was all self-defense.
Eating people's pets, self-defense.
Yeah. So what if Joe went in there and like was sneaking food out of other people's lunches?
So what if he ran over people with his tricycle?
No, let me explain. I'm saying though, from the cartoon though, I did try to I did calm myself more, and yes, when I'd have to defend myself, I would, but no more biting fingers off or parts of fingers. It wasn't the whole finger.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say though is it's like I know I sound like it turned in very dark. But
what about choking dicks?
You're like Gollum.
He-Man saying, like every life is worth saving. Just like, yeah,
except yours.
I bit their finger off. It was self-defense.
Hold on, I'm leading.
See the kid like
something.
Frodo, like
I'm leading to something.
And Joe's
God damn it, Rebecca, stop it. So what I'm saying is, I didn't go around bullying people.
You just traumatized them.
One more. So what I'm saying is, I didn't go around bullying people, but I did, from watching the cartoon, I did become calmer. And I wasn't at that level, but it was of always trying to do the right, treat people like you want to be treated. Meaning, I always treated everybody good, though. I was never mean. I was never an asshole. I wasn't a bully. I didn't call. Listen, Rebecca. No, I literally.
You called me a shithead.
Hold on, but you're a shithead. But
there we go.
No. Damn it! Let me get back to what I'm saying. I didn't go around bullying people.
This is self-defense right here, by the way.
Here we go. You gotta go let me finish my. I have a point to make here. So I didn't go around bullying people. I didn't call people names. I never treated anybody less than. Yes, I defended myself.
You just bit their fingers.
The early aggression shit did subside. But that was even defense when I bit the finger. But it subsided later. So that's a good one. I got a good moral, and I sound like a fucking lunatic. I'm not a bad guy.
Yeah, and you also then wrote apology letters in blood.
I did not. Listen, I did not ever
have
start
sex with
fights.
that woman.
I wasn't a bad guy. I didn't do bad things. But He-Man did really. It was.
This is like the worst long-winded Filmation moral segment.
I know. It's terrible.
Not doing any favors.
It's
Treat
like
others as how you want to be treated, and also, but I didn't bite Skeletor's finger off, and I didn't put that bag of kittens in a lake. That was fine.
I did chop people's dicks off.
So that early aggressive Joe did subside then. So there was no more biting, but there was never ever bullying, and there was never, like I said, calling people names or treating them less than. I'm a good guy. God damn it, Rebecca, you get that side look one more time. Look at the side look she's giving me.
One day the Toledo terror spree just ceased. Nobody knew who it was.
Didn't you steal a girl's She-Ra comic? Like, pretend to hang out with her, pretend to like her, just so you could steal it?
Yeah.
And then years later, gave it back.
Chewed up. All chewed up.
You sound like a bad guy. I swear, it's the morals of the cartoon made me a good person. It really did. I'm a good person. Oh,
it changed him.
Yeah, I'll tell you
that was him before the TV show. After he became a little saint, no, but fingers.
I feel like this has turned into an intervention for Joe.
Yeah, how's your father asking about how old was Joe when He-Man came out? He was 23 when He-Man came
He was doing all this at 23.
Yeah.
So no, but it's like I said, it was great though. Like I said, honoring and celebrating the memory of John.
Yeah, it was really great honoring him after I went through this long-winded thing about biting people's fingers. I'm a great guy and everything.
I didn't mean to murder.
Wow.
I always will wrap it up usually, but I can't this time. Nathan
this
or
is
James
going to be on a Netflix documentary, isn't it? When the truth comes out, this is going to be cropped
James, try to as eloquently, Megator, as eloquently as you can. Could you just wrap up the show, and we can, if we have a video or something, show it again. But go ahead. Could you please try something?
We don't have a video.
How does he follow with that?
Well, I've never killed a man. Aside from that, yes, this was a this was a loving tribute to John Erwin, the man, and his body of work, specifically for He-Man, because obviously that's why we're all here in the first place. But yes, he will be remembered and loved by us for as long as we're around, and we shall continue to enjoy his cartoons and his talent, his vocal work. especially on He-Man and those adverts. We're gonna go back and continue to enjoy those adverts because they're a lot of fun. I need to get to the bottom of that.
Yes.
Babe content.
You should.
Babe the film, that is, not just some random babe. But yeah, John Erwin, we already miss him, even though we never really knew him, but He-Man made us feel like we knew him.
Absolutely. And for those who are new to our channel, if this is your first time, you can like, subscribe, share, ring that bell so you can always be notified when we go live. And until next time, have a powerful day.
We have any movie quotes? Anyone want to do a movie quote? James, you can do one. You're our guest.
Get in my back door, Pigpen. Sorry. Breaker 1 9. This is the rubber duck. Got a smoky Satan or something like that.
That's not Smokey in the No, wait, no. Wait, you said. Oh wait, is that some What the
rubber
hell are
duck,
you saying?
man.
No, that's not Smokey in the What'd you say about a rubber duck on my back?
Breaker 1 9. This here's the rubber duck. Oh,
You say I
man.
got Smokey on my back?
Yeah, I got a Smokey. Got a Smokey in a plain brown wrapper.
Well, that can't be Smokey and the Bandit. I don't
By the
remember
way,
that
I'm
from
not
Smokey and the
high.
Bandit.
I haven't done cocaine this week, all right? So, ever.
Omega Tor said Pee-wee?
Pee-wee? Oh, someone got it. JSP.
I said convoy.
Oh, sorry. Dushan said, I didn't hear him say convoy.
I didn't hear him say it either, honestly.
Yeah, but now it's too late. JSP stole my victory.
I've never heard of the movie Convoy. What is this movie?
Other way. There you go.
You heard the song.
No, don't sing it. Don't sing it because copyright. Because our accuracy to
Wait,
recreate these songs.
but we're going to hear Dushan sing, though.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh.
Let JSP sing it.
What is this movie? I've never heard of Convoy. What year is this?
You heard the song on the radio numerous times.
We got a great big convoy trucking through the night.
Oh, it's a quote from a song? Oh, man, my brain shut down.
No. The song is from the movie. But they also played it on the radio because it was a hit. Convoy! this is turning into who's on first sketch.
Yes.
I've never heard of Convoy, though, this movie. I've never heard of
Joe. It's a
That's
piece
what
of
I kept
Americana.
saying. It's like, oh, Jesus. I'm sorry, JSP and everybody else. All right. Okay. All right. See you guys. It was, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was a great.
Joe will repent by eating more people's fingers.
And pets.
I'm telling you, it was self-defense. Self-defense.